Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to Gorgon Farm and Homestead. This is our cover crop. It's beautiful in the morning. Sun hits it. It's September 9th, 2021. Look at these beauties. They sure do brighten a day. And you see the sun hemp yellow flowers down there. They're so pretty. It's a couple days later. Corey is knocking down the ground cover, so that we can experiment with our first planting for this season, for the fall season. So, good morning. It is now the 17th of September, and it's been a few days since the last video, but we'll be working on a compilation here. Let's see if I can turn this around. So the last video was where Corey was knocking all of this down, and what we're doing, I'm gonna come out here and see how much of our seeds are coming up. Look at that. This is squash, I believe. Green beans. What we're doing here is all of the rows that Corey knocked down, where we just placed it on the beds for mulch so that it will help with weed control. Of course, I've got to come in here and weed all this grass. This is the worst corner of the garden. But it is exciting to see these squash coming up and the beans. Corey said that the tomatoes are coming up, and they're back here in this row. So let's see if we can find those. I don't see them yet. But what we're doing here is companion planting. So we have squash here, beans, some more squash here. We just kind of staggered them. Here's another bean there, squash, and so thankfully those are coming up really well. Let's see if we can find any. I planted some greens, mustards, and collards. Those might be some of those there. Back here, oh, it's so easy to plant way too many seeds because they're so small. So we'll have to come back and thin those out. Okay, those are some tomatoes coming up. And some more here. So what we'll do is cut down some more rows as we need them. I think it's really fun to see down the rows. When I was a kid, I'd have loved to play in this. But that was just a bit of heaven for me. So now I am looking for a place to plant carrots, because I missed those when we were out here planting the rest of this. Really looks messy right now, but when the cover crop decomposes on the rows and all the other things that we planted spring up, I think it's going to be quite delightful. Hey sweetie, what you doing, girl? Come here. Come here, pumpkin. You're so good. You're so good. Yes, that's right. So we've started harvesting these sweet potatoes, these purple sweet potatoes. I don't remember the kind that they are, but they're not the real sweet ones, but very starchy. You see they're trying to come out into the yard too, so we gotta get those cleaned up. But the bugs have just gone to town on these leaves. Horrible. But fortunately that doesn't affect the potatoes underneath. I've invited our botanical life group out this coming Sunday to help us pull all this out, and they can keep whatever potatoes they harvest. So I think that's a win-win, and hopefully that'll be a success. Well, I'm about to show you the other garden, the smaller garden, the 1,000 square foot garden. Corey planted a cover crop of sun hemp, and the cedar wasn't necessarily consistent, so I'm going to go through and fill in the seeds where there are gaps. You see, I mean, the seeds are coming up, but then there's a gap, and then the seeds are coming up, and then there's a little gap, and then, you know, you get the idea. So I'm going to be working on that this morning because we want to make sure that the cover crop here is consistent so that all of the soil gets the benefit of this cover crop. I can't just walk by this without showing you. It's just so pretty. It's a purple glory tree, and it's my favorite color. The colors may come a little bit different on camera, but it's just a really deep purple. And this, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to get this planted. I finally got the weeds under control over here, got it deep mulched. When I cut the grass, I put the hay on here to help with weed control, and this will be forthcoming. This project here will be forthcoming very shortly. So all I'm doing is just spreading these out, placing them, and just pushing them in the ground and just covering them up. I know it's kind of manual, but I don't know of a better way to do it. So as I was planting these seeds and making the holes with my fingers, I was thinking there's got to be a better way to do this. So I went out to the shed, got an old tire iron, good old faithful I'll call it, and I'm going to use it to make my holes. Then I'll go back and put seeds in there. So I'm just doing this to the whole garden, and then I'll go back and put the seeds in there. So I figure it's a lot quicker, a lot less stressful, if you can see it in focus, a lot less stressful on my finger. It just gets really bad. But anyway, I figured, now there's a hack. Anything will work. I'd prefer a stick with a round end on it instead of this sharp or chiseled edge. But hey, it makes a good hole, so it works. So I just got done reseeding the empty spaces between the sun hemp cover crop. There was a lot of empty spots between, as you can see. So now I'm watering it with the overhead sprinkler system, since we don't have an in-ground system as of yet. That'll happen when we actually plant food and all of this is ready to go. But for now, the cover crop and the amendments we put in will help enrich this soil. Alright, putting this fancy weed eater up together, and super excited to see what it'll do for us. Good morning, YouTube friends. It is September 19th and I am about to plant some things in my herb garden, so I thought I'd bring you along. I've got my beds covered in deep mulch, and I just want you to see the moisture that's contained under just a couple of inches of this mulch. It's just amazing. And this is the beauty of deep mulching. Holds the water in, keeps the plants well hydrated even when it's hot. So this is great. So I didn't film it, but I got my, I believe it's called blue turmeric, planted. Those are to the right of the bird feeder. Here's my lemongrass here. Got that planted too. And on the left, to the left of the bird bath, I planted a lot of regular turmeric, and they were just starting to sprout, so I'm hoping that they will show soon. So basically this half over here is regular turmeric, this over here is blue turmeric, and I have a small space here where I'd like to put ginger when I get some bulbs or roots to plant. Oh yes, I planted some betony here. It's a root that you can harvest. I'll show you an example of that. I have some roots inside, but obviously I've got to get these things watered. I want to do that this evening since they've just been planted, and go from there. Now you might think that I'm weird, but something that I came across while I was trying to move this out of the pot is the wasp nest. And I don't know about you, but I just really don't like to destroy all their hard work. They are beneficial insects. So my challenge was to transplant this from the pot and put it in the ground without disturbing them and without getting stung. So I talked to Corey about it, and what we decided to do is we used just a regular kitchen trash bag, put it over the plant, and just hold it closed at the bottom of the plant, of the base, and transplant it and get it buried, and once done, take the bag off, and that worked beautifully. I had to work with the wasps to get them out of the bag and reoriented, but then they came out and they found their nest. They didn't one time come after me. The only time they came after me is when I tried to transplant the plant without putting a bag over it. But anyway, that's just one of my little things. I didn't want to use bug spray. I didn't want it to affect the plant or anything like that. So that's just a me thing, I think. So this is the betony root. It looks like white worms, but it's you know, a hard succulent type root. You can use it to saute. You can eat them raw. They can be sweet. So if you can get over how they look, they make a nice addition to a stir fry. So I haven't done a video in quite a while. Lots going on here, and I'm sure in your life as well. But I wanted to at least, even though I've compiled this over several days, wanted to at least catch up a little bit and let you see our status, our progress, what's going on. Everything is growing right now. It's summer, just heading into fall, so everything has been overgrown and really difficult to maintain. But that's okay, because that's just what you sign up for with this kind of you know, homesteading, slower pace kind of life and goal. Looks a little bit different for everybody, so I really do appreciate you spending time with us and hanging out, and just for your support. So I will try to, my goal is to get a video out at least every week, probably a compilation of little things throughout the week. So I will see you around. Thank you so much. God bless. Take care.